the new file format, I have used global variables, flat file path and flat file name. And don't forget, these are the global variables which you have to define. As part of my preparation, I have already defined and kept it there, so I'm using them now. Because I defined them as dynamic, at the runtime I can pass any value to it. When I say execute, in the global variable section, you can pass any file name with any path. It will take that path and run it. So even if we wanted to go back to our original path and do it, yes, it is permitted. You can pass any path into here that has an access to the job server. So here access should be for the job server. Even why here there is a small confusion is my own mission is a job server. It is local to me and it is a job server. So I can pass it just like that and it takes it. In general, you will have to make sure that this particular file is accessible to the job server, not your client machine. Current situation for me, job server, file server or database server, everything is my machine. So I have put it locally and it already have permission, so it went along properly. So you understand why am I using all this, guys? So if you understand the intent of using it, then I'm fine. If not, then you'll have to tell me. I will do it one more time if required. Is that okay, guys? So, yeah, sometimes it happens, nothing we can do about it. Due to some reason it was not working, and this is the data which I inserted now. It worked fine. And we will have to explore about more options now. It is time to, we have only 15 more minutes left for today, but if you have any questions so far, I will give you a chance, or I'm going to explain more options in today's session. Let us see some more options. So before I proceed further, do you have any questions at this moment? Okay, no questions. So I'm going with my regular business. I hear someone had a question, but they are hesitant to ask. No, feel free to ask, guys. Don't worry about it. Records. Oh, these ones. If you remember these data flows, I have used it as part of my template. You remember? First day I tried to show you the template. These are dummy data flows I have put in here. This is my template, and in which I was yeah. So the data flows are part of the template. These are dummies. There is nothing in it. Generally, when I do a job, I generally make use of this template so that I'm consistent. All my jobs will look similar. So I try to use this. Okay. So for us in this class, what we try to do is only these two data flows. One is the position and department. The other is the sales org. The sales org was working fine when we tried to do it, but then it went wrong in the later point. Okay. It could be just that I did not look at the proper place and properly give the path to it. It went wrong, but now we should be fine. I will be able to fix that. I can recover that file, the original one, and then do it. But do you have any questions at this point? Okay. So to go forward, even to proceed further, I will show you some more options. For example, I was showing you a to-date option here that I can convert a varchar into a date. That is permitted. I did it. But there are certain options. I mean, you have more options actually. If you wanted to do a lookup, you can do it. You can, if you wanted to convert a function, if you wanted to do a data quality transform, everything is possible, but we'll not go to that extent. For now, let us look at closely the options on the target. In the options, I told you only one option, delete data from table before loading. So this is not a regular option that you wanted to keep. Why do you want to delete every time? But how to avoid duplicates? That will be always a question mark on everyone's face. So if the same data comes again and again, how to manage it? So next time what I'm going to do is, I'm not going to delete this data. Instead, I will use another option. But before I use the other option, this job is not working. So I will have to, if I want to make use of the same job, I will have to fix it. So let me see. Okay, let me not waste too much of time in that. I will not do the sales org, guys, because that was not working. I'm going to go back to my original postal department and I will make use of this only. Okay, post and department. So this one was actually a temporary table which I created. So it has a drop and recreate option. So how to make this as a permanent table is, if you go into template tables, right click and say import table. This I have shown you already. It becomes a permanent table under my data store. So it will no more, you'll no more see that option delete or what is it? Drop the table and recreate before every time. You don't see that anymore. But the one important thing is, if you look at this particular table, there is position and department. I don't have a proper index. Now, if let us say the table will be growing after I have maybe 100 departments, if I want to count them, it is not easy for us. So I always want to put a sequence number before them. Right? So I will try to use a transform, get a sequential number for this while I load. How I do it? I go here. I can always create a new column here. So this particular column, I'm just calling it as department ID, DPT underscore ID. I'm giving it, this is a dummy number actually, but I wanted to give a department ID so that I know how many departments I have. So in here, I have one more transformation called as a key generation transform. So I use this transformation. What does this do? This will read data from a table. If there is a new key, no, if there is already an existing number, like say I have number 1, 2, 3, 4. It will take the sequence. It will allot the next new coming row with a 5, 6, 7, 8. It just it can give it a sequential number. That's all it does. So for that, what I will have to do is, I will have to give the input table name, key column, and then a key increment as integer. So to achieve this, actually, I will have a problem. Okay. Because we are writing and reading into the same table, it will be a problem. What should I do now? Okay. Yeah. Okay. First, let me create the column and then I will make use of it. So what I am going to do is, ignore for a minute, guys. What I am trying to achieve here is nothing. I am trying to create one more column here. No, I know it is going to confuse you now. So let me not do this for now. I will show you how to make use of a key generation, but a little later, because if I show it now, it is going to confuse you. Better than key generation, we will see some other options. For now, we will see some other options, because key generation you will have to understand and look at it very closely. Only then you can understand. For now, let me show you some other options. So now this is a permanent table. If you see, I am saying compare by name. If let us say the target has a different name, whereas your source is different, you can always go to your transform and make the change that you want. Instead of POS, I wanted to name it as position or department. That is fine. But if you don't want it to rename the original things and still put in here, there is another option called as compare by position. So it will not care for the column name. It will compare what is the first position I inserted there, what is the second position I inserted there. It can do that. So I can also always make use of compare by position or compare by name for my load. So but the best thing is always compare by name, so that there won't be any confusion. And now comes the rest. I will walk you through all the options that we have in the target, and then we will end the show for today. Catch up tomorrow with a um, with more transformations and a better approach. So the number of loaders. What is this number of loaders? Anyone who starts working on a job will always ask, what is this? When you are loading into a table, like when we are eating, let us say for example, I wanted to consume all the fries, all the french fries that is kept in the plate. If I eat it with one hand, I can eat only some. If I use both of my hands, I can feed my kid and also I can eat, right? I can do two things at a time. And I can also consume more fries if I use both the hands. So you can always increase the number of loaders to 2 or 3 or 4. There is no certain limitation of number of loaders that you can use. But when you use number of loaders, if you use more, then your server must be capable of giving you that much space. What it means is a man can have only two hands. If you wanted to have more hands, it can be dummy, or you have to club more servers and do it. I mean, it's the same mouse. You can hire few people and then make this person eat fries all at once, though there is only one mouse. So there is always a limitation. You can increase the number of loaders for 2, 3 or 5. If you go beyond that, your job server will not be capable of doing it. So by default it is 1, but always you can make it 2 or 3. Error handling. This is one important thing. So I wanted to show you. What is meant by error handling? Always you will have some error in the incoming data. Never the incoming flat file will be perfect to 100%. Surely if there are 10 records, there will be at least 1 or 2 records that has a blank space in it or an extra character. So you want to capture those error records. Then you can use an overflow file here. If you say yes, then it is see the file name edwds edw temp post department.txt. I mean, automatically it is appending the data store name and the database table name. But if you want to change it, always you can change it. File format is write data, write SQL. This is not our source is a data file, right? So we better keep it write data instead of write SQL. And I'll use input keys. This is what is the important one I wanted to show you. I was actually trying to make you understand, instead of using delete data before load, delete data from table before loading. I don't want to use this, but I still don't want to get the duplicates into it. There is another way. I will say use input keys is equal to yes. Autocorrect load is equal to yes. Now we will go back and run the job and see what will happen. See, I am using these two options, which are very important. This will be able to handle the duplication problem. But there is one important thing. I am saying use input keys, but I don't have a key value here. Is this a primary key? Is this a primary key? No. So what I will do is I can right click and say make this as primary key. Even this as primary key. If I wanted to make, I can make these are primary keys. Now I wanted to show you that this data already exists in this table. You see here, the data is already there. But if you run the same job, because I enabled the autocorrect load and use input keys, my understanding is it will not create duplicates. It will show you as if so it is inserting the same records, but it will not do anything. Oh, the job fails. Huh. Okay, it's just the file path and the name, because I did not pass that, it failed. Now I can actually, oh, this is the file name. I have to put it here.